often said here on the show, it's very strange, isn't it, when royals sit down and do interviews, you know? We've seen it for many years. In fact, I remember my very first sort of being aligned, or if you like, and aware of a royal sitting down for an interview, and that was with the late and brilliant broadcaster Terry Wogan with Princess Anne. But of course, it was a light-hearted banter, and she was just great fun. I also remember Princess Anne appearing on Question of Sport, which was a panel quiz show on the BBC, and I think she batted with her handbag Emily News. Only good fun, of course, but that's how you saw royals. They didn't come out and do these bombshell interviews. That really all changed, didn't it, when you think about it, with the late and beautiful Princess Diana and that ill-fated scam that was put together by the disgraced BBC journalist Martin Bashir. But of course, it's a more current one that's created more bombshells and more difficulty for the British monarchy, the one with Harry and Meghan and Oprah Winfrey. And earlier this week, Oprah decided to come out and basically, say what she thought about where things were now. Or did she? Let me explain. Hi, good morning. Nice to see you. Hope you're all keeping well and fine and dandy. It's a funny thing, isn't it? Because as we often said here on the show, Oprah Winfrey's interview was really ridiculous. I mean, she'd always sort of prided herself of being on this mega celebrity sort of interviewee that got the best out of people. In fact, people ran to her if they had a crisis to try and rectify their celebrity status, including the Duchess of York, Fergie. She sat down with her, didn't do her any good though. Michael Jackson, an absolute disaster. There were so many things when you think about it that why on earth would you want to reveal all to someone you don't know on camera? They have a vested interest. One of the things I noted about Oprah Winfrey was when she decided to do an interview, a special with Liza Minnelli, and it's a great behind the scenes that's still online, and it shows the manipulation of this lady who was very vulnerable, still is Liza Minnelli, and really didn't want to do certain things, but they wanted to bring up certain topics. Very, very uncomfortable viewing. It's, one I would recommend you look at, because then you'll see exactly how this sort of whole Oprah Winfrey bandwagon works. But earlier this week, they asked her, her and a good chum at CBS, Gayle King, interviewed each other. Wow, that must have been a difficult booking, don't you think? And the bottom line was, Gayle King, who's been very unkind to our British monarchy, claiming about conversations haven't moved forward, leaking all sorts of things, basically asked Oprah, well, what would you do if you were Harry and Meghan regarding the coronation? And as ever, Oprah was very vacant and, not really saying anything. But according to a very good source, Oprah Winfrey basically is now claiming that that particular interview, which has created so much bad feeling around the world, well, she says this, it's their version of events. It's their story. It was nothing to do with me. I simply asked the questions. Well, that may be the case, but surely as a journalist, you may say, is this true? Who said this? Never really in the interview did she pick up on, say, 17 big holy bombshells that Harry and Meghan lied about, and then they continued to lie about when they were brought up later on. According to that good source, Oprah Winfrey feels simply this. It was their version of events. It's not up to her to defend them or indeed defend her interviewing style. She presented their story in her best of her knowledge and seemingly is quite happy with it. There's a bigger picture, you see, because the bottom line is people are still buying those clips to air and documentaries and news programs around the world. It's been a phenomenal money spinner for her particular company, Harpo Productions. And when you're making money off something, you're hardly going to attack it yourself, whether you think it's good or bad. And it's like the old adage, really, isn't it? Bad publicity, good publicity. As long as it's publicized, does it truly matter? So for Oprah Winfrey to criticize herself would be rather daft. For Harry and Meghan, though, it's left their personalities, if you like, their popularity plummeting, not just here in Great Britain, but around the world. And was Oprah part of that orchestration? I'll leave you to decide that. Neil Sean in the very heart of England.